Welcome to Easy Email Marketing. I'm your host, Yael Keown, mum, FIFO wife, MBA, coffee lover, survivor superfan, and creator of the email experience. In Easy Email Marketing, you'll benefit from my nearly 20 years experience, where I'll be teaching you all the tips, tricks, and insider info on how to create feel-good, non-spammy experiences for your subscribers. Let's get stuck in. Welcome back to Easy Email Marketing. I'm your host, Yael Keown, and today I want to share a simple sales strategy that I have used consistently over the past few years to book in more clients without feeling like I am constantly talking about my services and feeling salesy. So one thing I hear from service-based businesses on the regular is that they feel like there is only so many ways they can talk about their services, and they don't want to sound like they are constantly repeating the same thing over and over to their subscribers, or, getting them fatigued with the messaging and having them feel like they're just constantly in sales mode instead of delivering value to their clients. And my answer is simple to this. Don't be constantly talking about your services in terms of a direct sales pitch. That's very careful all of the time. Instead, one of my favorite go-to strategies is what I very loosely call the quarterly client invitation. I say loosely because it definitely doesn't need to be quarterly. Often this is something I'll pull out if and when I see an upcoming gap in my client books, so typically a month or two ahead. But I find quarterly works well for me, as often I tie this in to school terms. So a lot of my business planning is around, what my availability is going to be each term, given, kids' sporting activities and everything else that I have going on, and of course around those school holidays. Some of you, though, may even prefer to do this on an annual basis, and with the new year coming up, this is the perfect time to look at utilizing this strategy. And it is really very simple. You send 1, 2, or 3, maybe 4 emails inviting your list to work with you. Sometimes you might book out at email 1 and you don't need to send any more. So obviously this is something you play by ear. And other times you may need to send a couple of reminders and get your list a little bit more excited. And the emails are very, very simple. And the angle you are coming at is, I have now opened up my calendar for bookings for the next quarter or the next period of time. But of course, we still want to approach this with some sound marketing strategy. So there are 5 key elements that you want to make sure you are thinking about with these emails. Firstly is, of course, to reiterate what the service options are. Now, the temptation is, especially if you've got lots of services, to share them all. Instead, I don't recommend doing this. Instead, try to stick to only 1 or 2. Of course, if you have really segmented lists, you could send different invitations to different groups of your subscribers, but we won't go down that rabbit hole here today. Instead, keeping it nice and simple, just focus on 1 or 2 services that you want to fill up. So this could be just your initial strategy call or your initial call, because maybe once you get people to do that one call, typically they stick around. Or if you know that people want to approach you for more longer term work, maybe you focus on that instead. The second key element is to focus on the benefits and the outcomes and the reasons why someone would work with you. So don't just tell them that you get 5 sessions, you get workbooks, you get email support, Voxer support, whatever it is. Don't just tell them the list of inclusions, but tell them why each of those is important. But also focusing on, what the outcome will be for that subscriber, for that lead when they work with you. Number 3 is that you are very clear on who it is for. So I always love to say, especially when I've got more than one, service offering, is saying this is for you if what? So if they are looking for a particular outcome, if they are at a certain stage, if they have one particular challenge, really try to niche this down. So being clear on who it is for, so that when people look at this email, they can go, oh, yep, that's me. I definitely need this. Element number 4 is that you emphasize the scarcity. So for example, you might say, I have spaces for 5 new clients. Sometimes I even get more specific with this and I say, these are the choices of start dates. And if you want your preference, get in quickly. So, it's first come, first serve. So you don't want to just say, hey, I'm opening up books or I'm opening up my calendar. There are only 5 places. Even if you've only got 10 people on your email list, people don't know that you've only got 10 people on your email list. So starting and sharing that you have this scarcity will encourage people to take action quicker, and they might be going, oh, and if you're only inviting for this next quarter, then if I want to do work with you this quarter, I'm going to have to take action now, make sure I get one of these places. Otherwise, I'm waiting another 3 months. So having this element of scarcity in there is really, really important to encourage action. And then the 5th key element is to have a really easy next step that does not have a lot of back and forth. I would prefer if it wasn't that someone had to reply and then you had to go back and forth with various invoices, etc. Ideally, you will get someone to be able to book in immediately and you have a way for them to do that. It could be straight into the first paid session and they're paying the moment they fill in, or it could be for a discovery call or clarity call or some sort of initial chat to make sure that at least you're getting on the phone with them. Alternatively, you could look at having an application. This is better than just having a quick reply because here you can say it still creates that qualification. So you are basically, they're applying for the privilege of working with you. It creates that feeling like, okay, only people who meet a certain criteria will actually get one of these places. And that's where you can ask some key questions to see if they are the right fit to work with you. And the key here is that you want your leads to take action on something straight away. We don't want a lot of back and forth. We don't want a lot of humming and hurrying. We want them to take action immediately. So those are the 5 key elements. So I'll go through those again. Firstly, you reiterate what the service options are, sticking to just 1 or 2. You focus on the benefits and outcomes. You are clear on who it is for. You emphasize the scarcity and you give a really easy next step. If you need emails 2 or 3, you will be clear about how many places have been snapped up. So you might say, oh, we've already had, a number of applications come through, or we've already taken, these spots have been claimed. And so you continue to emphasize that scarcity. But in terms of content, maybe you drill down a little bit deeper about who it's for. You could share past success stories, or you could answer some FAQs that people may have. This is also the perfect time to be keeping an eye on who is clicking on the links. So you can go into these emails and see who's clicked the links to check that out. And then you can personally reach out to your hottest leads to see if they've got any questions and to see if they are interested in working with you further. So that's the emails. It's super, super simple and it doesn't feel salesy if you're only doing it, once a quarter, and it is legitimate urgency. It is just letting people know, okay, I'm planning out my next quarter, my year, and I invite you now, if you are interested in working with me, now is the time to do it. But of course, this does bring up a few questions. The first being, if I'm only inviting clients to work with me once a quarter, then what am I emailing in between? And the answer there is content. So anything valuable that helps your subscribers in your area of expertise. Because way back in episode 6, I shared 6 types of non-salesy content you can send your list. Make sure to check that out for a range of ideas. But think about it similar to a launch. So in between launches, people should be sharing, the why and the what about your topic. It's about getting your subscribers interested. It's about getting them into a place where they are thinking, this is something I need and that I need help with. So this podcast is a perfect example of this. So many of my clients will have come from listening to this podcast. They get ideas, they get motivated, they get inspired. They go, yes, I want to implement email marketing, but I prefer I want someone to strategize with me, or I want someone to do it for me. And then, they might hang around on my list and I'm sending out, my podcast episodes, etc. and other content. And then they happen to see the email invitation after already being warmed up, after already being in a place where this is for me, and they're ready to do something. So this isn't salesy at all. It's all about give, ask. The second question, of course, that comes up is then what happens if I don't book out? Do I not invite people to work with me in between? And my answer to that is you can do whatever you want. This is just one sales strategy that you can layer into a myriad of sales strategies. I never rely on just one tactic to get clients or get sales. My suggestion is that you would still have a regular PS at the bottom of your emails. So if you've got an email sharing a great piece of content, at the bottom you would just say PS, if you are interested in working with me, here's information, here's the link to the page. So the focus of the email isn't around selling, but there is still there, the option's still there if someone wants it, and you're planting the seed that there is a way to work with you. Secondly, you definitely would still want to include an invitation at the end or as part of your welcome series for anyone new that comes along and wants to take action immediately. So they always have that option. Plus, of course, you can incorporate a range of other pop-up offers, add in some different automations and promos as needed. Or if you don't have any problem booking out, I recommend adding a wait list as your call to action in the PS and your welcome series and other strategies. So at least you have some place for people to go. In this scenario, then you would send the invitation, this quarterly invitation to that wait list first. So they get those first dibs on the places. And then if you don't need them, you can then send them out, the invitation out to the rest of your list as well. But that's one of the perks of getting on the wait list, and that can be a way to give someone something to do, even if you are booked out. So hopefully that has given you some inspiration of just one simple sales strategy you can use. I would love to know if this is something you are going to try out, especially with the new year coming. If you want more detail on this strategy, plus a range of other ways service-based businesses can generate sales from the email list, then I do recommend that you check out the Services Sales Pack. Inside, you'll find out how you can use email marketing as the ultimate lead and sales generation tool, including some email swipe files. But not only getting these sales with your emails, but also how to layer it in your CRM, so your customer relationship management system, or using a tool like ActiveCampaign to act as your CRM as well. So you can check it out at yaelkeone.com/services sales. Thank you so much for joining me today. I would love to hear from you about what you've enjoyed from this episode or what you want to know more about in future episodes. Please let me know over on Instagram. I am at yaelkeone, and I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you for listening to Easy Email Marketing. It's an absolute honor that you chose to listen. If you love this episode, then it would mean the world to me if you could leave a review so that others can find this podcast and make their email marketing easy too. Finally, make sure to subscribe so that you don't miss a thing. Until next time, have an awesome day and make sure to keep showing up and serving in those inboxes.